comes forth from that. Those are serious charges. There are people that have spent 3 weeks in jail, and there are people that have spent 5 weeks in jail. So justice is coming quite hard on the clubs in Belgium. So that we have an advantage, I wouldn't say that. We've taken different steps. Because the social club model, it originates from Spain, and the laws are different in each country. That's why it's important for the activists in countries where they want to establish social clubs to adapt the social club framework to the possibilities in their country. Because it's no use to commit a suicide, more or less. You know, if you know you're going to jail, it would be stupid to do it anyway. You know, so it's a thin line that we're working on as activists. So the risks that we're taking, there are risks involved, but the risks they must be manageable. You know, there's no sense in committing harakiri, as a matter of speaking. You know, you want your products to have a chance to have success and not to be swept away by justice from the very first moment. What I think is important at the moment is that we need to put pressure on politicians. The story is out. Everybody knows that there are benefits, only benefits with a regulated system, but the politicians won't move. They won't see us, they won't hear us, they have their heads stuck in the sand. So it's very important that we can create something so we can put pressure on politicians. That's why I think lobbying is very important. That's what I try to do at the moment in Belgium. That's only one of the only things we can do without getting too much in trouble now. Because in court in 2016, I already had my warning. They already tapped my fingers. They said, we don't want this, don't do it again. Now we're 2 years later, and they found, or they constated the same facts as before. So we'll see how lenient the court or the judge will be this time. But that's why we need the politicians, because the laws need to be changed. And for politicians, it's very hard to stick their head up because they think they're going to lose a lot of voters. And also the way the system is built today. Politicians who stick their head up in the group of politicians, they immediately get sanctioned from other ways. Like people like Mr. Neil Woods here, it's very important that people that don't have anything to do with cannabis start to speak up. And they won't start to do that out of themselves. It's us. We need to give them all the information. We need to give them all the arguments we have for a regulation so they can use them in a broader discourse with other people. So it's the people that don't have anything to do with cannabis that need to be won over, I think, today. That will be very important. It's also very important that the people who put effort behind it, that they get support. You know, because you need money to do things. You need money to print flyers. You need money to set up websites. We need funds to keep the community alive and to make ourselves stronger. We don't have the funds that were available for the activists in the United States. We don't have the funds from, excuse me, from big companies or countries where there is a developed market, like Spain or like the Netherlands. We don't have that. So we're basically David fighting a Goliath, and that's why it's important that we get support from the community to keep the train going, because there is a momentum going, but we need to keep it. We need to keep the momentum and never set a step back and always make baby steps forward. So that's very important for everybody to speak up and to be a good ambassador for the plant, to show what it is in practice to people that don't use cannabis, what the responsible use of cannabis looks like. You know, you don't go smoking in front of a school, or you don't start skinning up where you have children next to you. All those things are responsible use, and I truly believe in leading by example. You know, you show the people that cannabis or cannabis consumers are just normal people and not people that they have to be afraid of. Of course, there are the cliches, they walk around everywhere, but it's important, therefore, I think, that normal people start to speak up and come out of the closet. People who don't speak up against the system, they make a criminal of themselves. You know, by not speaking up and just keeping your mouth shut, things won't change, and you help the system to make a criminal of yourself. You know, so we need to stop this madness. Also, it's important that we, as activists, gain the support of scientists and people who are trained medicinal or trained in the medicinal profession, because now these days everything is mixed together, and I really like to help people, sick people out with the social club and give them access to cannabis, but it shouldn't be my job. You know, that should be a job that should be taken up by doctors and other specialists, not activists who want to do it to help people, but people who have studied it and know what they are doing. You know, we are doing the things to our best knowledge, but that doesn't make us specialists. And I think it's very important in the future to separate the medicinal and the recreational sides of cannabis. It's clear that there has to be a good access for people who need it medicinal, but it has to be a certain standard. And I think in the benefit of those people, it's also a benefit if everything is consistent so that they know what they're getting every time. You know, growing cannabis is nice and fun, but it's something totally different than growing medicinal cannabis. So I think we should leave that up to the specialists. We can become one ourselves maybe if we want, but I think that's specialist work, and that's not really the goal for the social clubs in the future, I think. We do it now because we're the only ones that are there and that have access, that offer it, but mainly it should be a job or it should be regulated by medicinal practices and people that know what they're talking about, and not by activists who want to do good. You know, I think that's also important, so that those markets are divided in the future. Of course, it's very important also the right to home grow, that we can safeguard that, because if you can grow your own cannabis and it helps you as a medicine, there's no need to go to the pharmacy or to get the medicinal cannabis to support. To give your money to an industry that makes a lot of money and that is only concerned about making money and not about your health. I think everybody should have the right to grow its own, and then it's up for the patients to decide what they want. If you want to grow your own plant and it helps for you, then you can grow your own plant if you choose. But I think it would be wrong to push everybody also to the pharmacy and to make everybody a sick person. I think everybody has the right to grow his own plant and to cure himself, because that's perfect possible. The plant you can grow at your house can help you as good as any other plant you can get in the pharmacy. Only difference will be the price tag and also the joy that you have in growing your own plant, because there's nothing nicer and more inspiring than growing your own plant. Also, being here this weekend for me is also very inspiring, because when you're going through dark days, then it's nice to have some sunshine every now and then. To be honest, as an activist, there have been a lot of days that I woke up and that I said, shit, what have I done or what have I gotten myself into? The 5th of May, I spent a day in jail, in a cell. That was one of those days that you doubt everything and that you really feel a criminal. You know, that's why those things have to change. Like Neil Wood said, I'm also a medicinal cannabis user. You get raided 6 in the morning, your whole house is turned upside down by police officers. They enter with 6 people, they turn your whole house upside down, they destroy your whole growing operation. Those are not nice things to experience, and those things happen on a daily basis. It can happen to any one of us. So that's why things need to change, and that's why it's important that people keep putting their best foot forward to move things ahead. Also, I think the media also plays a very important role. We need the media very much, but they're not always on our side. So that's why our social media, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, is becoming very important. That way we can share our message with the world. We can spread our message in a cheap way, but in a way that we can portray it in a positive, put it in a positive daylight. You know, these days it's possible with some creativity and with a computer and a normal phone to make some nice video clips. What you guys doing with the UK social clubs is a very nice example of that, and it's very nice to see that the scene is so growing so much here in the UK. So it's the opposite's what's happening at the other side of the channel. So there, it's dark days, and I think myself it would be realistically to say that it will take a few more years at least to have some change there, because we have more right-wing government, and as long as they are in power, things won't change in Belgium. And I hope that I'd rather have them change tomorrow than yesterday. So that's basically a little bit what I wanted to share with you, that things aren't as bad as they seem here. You know, what you see here, it's a nice form of liberty. It's nice that everybody's interested. You got a nice thing going here in the UK. It will only grow and it will only benefit more and more people. So it can become a real industry, and it can become something normal and tolerated, just like we are all normal people here. So thank you very much.